The European Emperor in the yellow from Russia, the undefeated Happy. His challenger in the upper right on Northern Isles, the Moldovan Mauler, the challenger, Blade. And your casters, ladies and gentlemen, are Remo and Todd.
Let's get this grand final started. Northern Isles. I was happy with the first map choice. As Neo mentioned, unsurprising that Happy goes for Northern. This seems to be his favorite map. He has it studied inside and out, and we have seen him take countless humans apart on this map. Blade has been playing recently quite a bit of fast expansion on this map, but he's also, of course, very good at the one-base rifle style. So what is the Moldovan gonna go for on this map?
Let's get hyped, everybody. Spread the word about this match. If you have friends that usually play, I don't care what they play, shooters, MOBAs, card games, just tell them to get in there. Let's watch greatness in the making here with this magnificent grand finals that is starting just now. Blades. He opened with the altar upwards here, so shouldn't be going for the Tusker camp. Probably just gonna go for the small green at the top. Scout with his footmen as he does in every matchup and on every map pretty much. Early on, and upon seeing that the Death Knight is down there doing the standard camp that Undeads go for, you go and creep the expansion usually, whether you want to plan on expanding or not. The question is, would Blade actually try and expand this time around? Last time he did that in their previous series, that game went awful for him the whole time. He could never really get anything going while he was getting sieged. His expo got broken into instantly, and he attacks! He's not even going to creep the expansion. Happy's waiting there with an Acolyte. He's going to realize soon that there is no expansion at all from Blade. And he's just going to be relying, that's a big hint, that he's just going to be relying on his one-base rifle play for the finals, but he starts a third farm. I guess that was a fast take. You're supposed to start the blacksmith before that.
Yeah, I think it's normally tech on two farms, then blacksmith, then farm, right? This is also what I kind of saw recently. But perhaps with this, he's going to add in a few more footmen, because they do certainly help out with the creeping, especially before the tier 2 stage. If the AM should be able to get to level 3 in the early, and then use that strength to, in the mid-game, level up the MK solo, that should be the game plan for Blade, I suppose.
Yeah. He's only on 3 footmen right now. He teched very, very quickly, quicker than Happy, in fact. And Happy finally gonna move on the other side of the map with level 2 here. Start to try and land some of these death coils to steal away some of the experience from the crisps. Maybe it depends what Blade's doing, obviously. But right now, Blade just cleared all his few green camps. And he's gonna have to wait for the blacksmith to finish to start getting rifles. And I'm assuming it's just gonna be the usual castle play, where he rushes for that paladin, gets rifles with inner fire, and then eventually adds flying machines to deal with destroyers very well, because if there is no destroyers to dispel water elementals and inner fire, obviously you can do very well with these.
Yeah, it's a lot about, in the early game here, about leveling up, about getting the level 3 especially. Whoever gets level 3 versus level 2 will have quite the advantage in the mid-game trading, should the two armies then meet and fight over creeps. Especially on Northern Isles, that is very often seen as the shop, the merchant, and the marketplace both grant great items if you can secure them for yourself, but of course a creepjack is always a possibility and a danger.
Yeah, the creeps were woken up at the expo of Blade, and the Acolyte actually did go down there. So that's going to put Happy on 22 out of 30 supply. That's when you get the extra fin, and you have 25 out of 30, and the Lich will be the perfect forces are under attack. 30 out of 30. Ooh. And then stay on one of the footmen here as the first or second fin comes out, and that's going to be a dead footy here in a sec, which he might not even need a coil for it, but still goes for it to make sure he gets that experience. Very important. If Death Knight gets level 3 before Archmage, it's obviously very bad for the human player.
Happy quite unconventionally saved out of mana. It's very often seen that Happy in the early game blasts through his mana pool, either for harass or for creeping heavily. But I think Happy so far wasn't too concerned with creeping. He is hovering around this AM and now almost gets the surround. Oh my god, he had an opportunity right there to get it Blade wasn't looking for just a second and almost got punished. That TP being lost would have been very painful, as later on he's probably going to try to creep somewhat greedily out on the map for his triple hero, because he is going towards MK and soon towards Paladin. He's already on his way to Castle.
Yeah, and that started earlier than the tier 3 for Happy. Very, very fast tech. No time wasted here for Blade. It seems like it's become his standard. He gets that first rifle, and then he delays the rest, starts tier 3, and then he starts getting priests and more rifles. The goal is really to rush that Paladin so that you can level it up. It works out pretty well on maps like this, with as many camps as there are on Northern Isle, because you can creep so many camps. You power level your Mountain King to level 3, and then ideally the perfect scenario is that you also power creep your Paladin to level 3, in which case if you have Stormbolt level 2, usually goes Bash with it, you get Holy Lights level 2, and then you can fight extremely well against the Undead thanks to the Orb as well.
Alright, good leveling here by the MK, getting a good bit of solo XP. AM is getting left a little behind. Feels like he's gonna go, once he gets to 3, into level 2 Brilliance, but, well, it's gonna be a story for later. Two armies might meet now, as Happy is coming across the map, and if you can steal the level 6 creep, there will be a lot of experience taken away.
Did he Stormbolt? I think he just Stormbolted.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have it now, and that gets stolen easily here by Happy. Mountain King now kind of stuck on level 2. He might send Militia here to try and help fight against this. One Fiend's gonna get targeted. There's so many cards on that Death Knight. You almost want to pull back here, I think, if you're Blade. But also Happy, there's not much interest in fighting for too long. It's gonna be very hard to even kill a rifle. And usually Happy against this one base style with Tri-Hero and Inner Fire, he doesn't even go for second Slaughterhouse and a lot of Abominations. He prefers to stay very Fiend heavy, and he goes into Banshees for Anti-Magic Shell and for Curse as well.
Most of the time I've seen it, it was with Dark Ranger as well. Rarely with the Cryptord. Most of the time with Dark Ranger. Colinovo, you can see it here, easily snipes those priests. Later on when they're stabbed, there's going to be a chance to save those, but it's not going to be easy. When are we going to get stabbed? When are we going to get Paladin? Blade is patiently waiting for his tier 3 upgrades.
That priest stayed all the way back. He's like, I don't want to die like my brother. These rifles. Like the FBI, witness protection, shielding the priest away from these undead heroes. Happy looking for some big steals here if he can get them. In particular, the Null Overseer level 5. He would need to get that one. Mountain King almost level 3. Very big power spike here with that Stormbolt level 2. He's actually going to throw the Stormbolt to make sure he gets that one creep. I mean, Mountain King still has a good amount of mana, and now he has Stormbolt level 2. Does he use that on the undead units, or does he try to secure the Null Overseer? Gets it. Oh. Rune Bracer, one of the best, if not the best item he could have gotten here. Gonna make Mountain King a lot safer against 0 targets. But there is Orb now. Oh my god, he needs to get out. Paladin gets there.
Pally comes in, but seemingly a little late. These priests went focused die quickly, but the Lich! Oh man, it was close for him as well. Still more coils to be used. Lich is still surrounded. Wait a minute, is he gonna die? No, TP transfer with that. He will get out. Happy gets another kill on his way back home. Happy lost the TP, but I think 0 units, right? And he killed quite a few there of Blade's army. So we see a clear supply lead for the undead, and that is before even the 3rd hero.
Yeah, and Archmage is not even level 3 yet here. Big problems for Blade. Happy moves right back to the center. He seems to really want to prioritize those camps in the middle. So even though he didn't get the Null Overseer from the Goblin Merchants, you can also get a very big item here at the marketplace. We need to pay attention whether he shops for stuff. I guess he's not quite at 50 supply yet, but Happy known to want to get a lot of items on his Lich. But to be honest, Circlate, Gloves of Haste, and Claws of Attack already. Maybe he doesn't need to actually shop for extra goodies here.
Yeah, I think he got those in the early. I think with the gloves and the claws he bought when he had like 3 fiends. So he had been buying those a little bit earlier. And we see the Banshee tech as well, the transition here in the late game to go for anti-magic to protect against the Stormbolt. And Holy Light, and also Curse can be quite effective, unless Blade has plenty of Dispel. But with how many priests have fallen, there's absolutely not plenty of Dispel.
Blade went for Brilliance level 2. And I think human players don't really do it yet, but in the future it's probably going to become standard, much like for the Undeads, is to get Backpack to bring Staff and Orb to your heroes. Because right now, When the Paladin came out, Blade didn't quite have the gold to buy that, so he just rushed to the center to help his army fight. But those are two very important items in this strategy to help out do better, especially because you want to stay on 50 for a while and it's just a little bit of extra gold. But he's getting +2 attack already on his rifles. No sign of any backpack. He doesn't have a lumber mill, so his lumber economy is actually going to be quite low because he's long distance mining from the expo right now. So I think the goal will be to eventually go into 60, 70 supply. And he's going to go and make sure he secures the red ASAP on the bottom right, as Happy's already started the one in the top left.
Yeah, the engagement in the middle was definitely painful for Blade, losing a lot of units there. But he is getting a lot out of the map. If he gets solo experience here for the Pally, that would be level 3. This camp has quite a bit of damage though, it's a little painful. Priests have mastered, but not using inner fire yet. There we go, level 2 Pally. Is he super ballsy and goes for the aura? I think he has to go Divine Shield. He does.
One priest was taking a lot of damage here, needs to be careful. Medallion of Courage. Not exactly what you're hoping for when you go there. But yeah, that Lich with cloth +12. Happy, he always has a decked out Lich every single time. It's insane. +25 this one.
Yeah, especially on marketplace maps, that is very reliable to do with those 2 items he bought earlier. And now we're gonna clash over here at the Scorpions. It's a bad position for Blade to start off with. These rifles could be getting Nova'd right away. It's a level 2 Nova, and it's gonna hurt. Call Nova in the back. 1 priest is down. And the Paladin is silenced, so he can't use the Holy Light in time. 2 more units go down right there for Blade. He has to TP out. The rest of the camp goes to Happy, who has now 4, 3, 3 hero levels. And is getting ready for the late game transition. Banshee adept training must be finished. It's not going into master, it takes a long time, but sitting at 50, he could even do it now, I guess.
Yeah, you don't really need master usually though. I guess when you have like 6 to 8 banshees, if you even get that many, it might be worth it for the extra hit points and mana pool in particular. You don't really plan on stealing any units away from the human usually.
A player's
but has Happy lost a Fiend yet so far in this game?
No.
Do you think he
I'm
will?
not sure. I think he lost no units so far. Well, this Banshee's gonna go down. Finally, we have Inner Fire. Again, Happy going for the backline. This is the upside of having the anti-magic. You can dive past the rifles, kind of, and snipe those priests who are so vulnerable. We have the Cyclone up in the air. The MK can't do anything. The Wand of the Wind, the perfect find, and the Dispel doesn't seem to be ready against it. 1 Fiend burrowed. Happy has still not lost a single Fiend. I believe in this game. Good kiting towards the back. Happy is absolutely owning this fight once more. Hold that on the AM. He gets back, but the priests won't. They're trailing behind a little bit.
Oh
he gets confused by the illusion. Stormbolt on the illusion, so wasted. The level 1 water elementals really aren't doing much. Happy is pushing forward, still with the Fiends and the AM. Yep, he's getting focused. Coil Nova. He doesn't have match HP. He's dead. Has to get the return kill now on the ledge. Last second with the invul. That was like 8 HP or something. And there's more coils available now. DK also still with the Wand of Mana Steal. Happy seems to be taking this fight easily. Oh my god, the burrows. On 10 HP. That's GG. 1-0 for Happy.
Whew, rough start for Blade. We can see that he is going for a different approach here. Not going for an expansion as you usually do on Northern Isles, but rather attacking. Happy's best map goes to Happy. Okay. That was, but despite that, it feels pretty bad to not kill a unit in a game.
Yeah, that was just, oh, I killed a Banshee, to be honest. He lost his entire army and the game for it, but he killed a Banshee. Give him that, at least, come on.
No, I've lost to Happy before without killing a unit, so you know, it could be worse.
Well, I've lost every game to him without killing a unit. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's rough to start a best of 5 like this here for Blade. This is the style also that made him rise to prominence in Europe, like that, I guess, publicized him or advertised him as one of the best players. He was using that style with rifle on 1 base and doing it really well and playing very competitive games with Happy. It seems like that time has passed. Happy's completely figured out how to play against this. He gets the correct creep jacks, goes for the correct timings, and with the early Death Knight level 3 that he got here, he was already able to snipe the first few priests as they came out, and he made Blade's life miserable the whole game with those Coil Nova.
Yeah, looked very convincing. Also the silences, man. How great were the silences always there. That was brutal. Happy is in tip-top shape. that's for sure. But sometimes we heard from Happy's opponents that, okay, I know Happy's best maps, I'm gonna focus on my map and the possible decider map, and not put so much emphasis on the already strong Happy maps to force that game 5. We heard this from Spiral, for example. Could be an approach. Next map is Echo Isles.
Yeah, already, probably out of the 5 maps, probably the one that I think Blade's gonna have the best chance on. Not necessarily a map where you're supposed to be playing one base rifle. Usually Echo Isle is a lot about expanding. So I'm very curious what option Blade goes for here on this map against Happy.
We all are, Todd. We all are. Second map coming. So far, Happy looks as invincible as he has in the past 3.5 years. But it's oftentimes the case that he leads the series, and then at one point things change and his opponents start to perform a little better. Can Blade allow himself that he needs this time? We'll see about that. It's Happy versus Blade, Grand Final, Map 2. There we go, guys. Echo Isles it is. Upper left for Moldova and the Human Alliance. It's Blade. And of course on the upper right hand side for the Undead Scourge and Russia, it's Happy. Take it away, boys.
The best undead in the world. Earlier today, it was 1-0 confirming it. Ranking himself second behind Happy. And it's hard to argue with that, with how strong Happy has looked these last few years. Never a bad day, never a weak performance. Starting off today, this best of 5 also extremely well. I don't know if there was a mistake on map 1. If there was one, it was very well hidden. But now on map 2, Todd, as you said, this should be the best map for Blade. And looking at the Ultra, we see a Mountain King first.
Yeah, which Happy is very well experienced against Archmage, obviously. That's the thing he's played against the most, but he should know how to counter a Mountain King. One of the main differences is that, I'm assuming this is going to be an expansion. I don't think he's going to do like the versus Foggy style where he stays on one base, like we're talking about that. I think this should be an expansion. Against a Mountain King, if you chose to harass, it's actually very hard to do. You need to stay at max range from Stonebolts so that if you get Stonebolted, you're far away enough that you're not going to get surrounded immediately after it. You can also harass just mostly with skeletons on the human units and peasants. And after that, later on, when Lich comes out, a lot of the time against Mountain King, it can be extremely good if Mountain King is already level 3 to go Frost Armor instead of Nova. Because Mountain King's melee, and so will all of these footmen that he's going to have be.
Yeah, the MK, when he hits level 3, has a very strong power spike potentially against Fiends, with Stormbolt level 2 and Footies to surround. But the issue can come later, when a little bit further in the mid-game, the Undead has 4 Fiends, maybe 5 Fiends, 2 statues, and 2 heroes. Then fighting against all that with pure melee can be super, super tough. So I think that is going to be the most difficult task here for Blade. But of course, one step at a time. First, he has to expand. MK is going green into green, so no mercenary support.
Let's see how far away from this Mountain King he can stay while still managing to harass. This is one of the hardest parts of playing against Mountain King. See that Death Knight, he has vision from this far. He cannot get too close. If he does, he's going to get surrounded and he's going to have a really bad time. And if you're Blade here, I think you just wait until it's nighttime. So in 15 seconds, you get on top of those creeps at the expo. And then you creep the expo. I think you probably have to kill the first 2 trappers before you can even threaten to go for the Death Knights. Happy's, like, it's almost annoying to see his Death Knight and Skeletons here because there's nothing you can do about it. He'll never let you get close enough to land that Stormbolt and surround. Blade might try, but I sincerely doubt that he's going to be able to get a surround. And even if he does, Happy wouldn't know how to recover. But I don't think Happy will let that happen. Look, he gets a coil, Skeletons are attacking the whole time. And Death Knight is still sitting at max range away where he can coil and dodge Stormbolts. Or I mean, not get surrounded after a Stormbolt.
The skeleton got the last hit of the Ogre Magi.
No.
Blade was too greedy to use the Stormbolt for the experience, despite being full mana. That's a questionable choice against Happy. And now he's down in experience. But he still has a good amount of footies. Plus, of course, Stormbolt, 5 seconds stun on Fiend, so he can still threaten surrounds.
I don't think
that
he was
level
supposed to
3
Stormbolt.
being delayed is painful.
I don't think he was supposed to Stormbolt, to be honest, because Coil had already been used on the Ogre Magi, right? On the Trapper, sorry. So it wasn't cooldown for the Magi. Like, I mean, you can't really guess that a Skeleton's going to be able to steal that. It's such an unlikely hit, which Happy has managed to get so many times, actually. So I guess maybe against him, you need to play it extra safe and Stormbolt that. After that, it's pretty obvious that Happy's going to pull back, and it's the right move again. Like, now there's nothing else to harass, right? He could try and coil the Peasants and damage them with Skeletons, but we can see Blade is doing such a good job killing the Skeletons. So Happy goes to his side of the map. The goal will be to creep to level 3, so that even if he soon faces Stormbolt level 3, which is going to be hard because Blade got a big creep stolen, he will be able to coil his own Fiends, save them, and again, once the Lich comes out, usually there is Frost Armor, which makes it so hard to fight against this. And look at this, there's not going to be a fast tier 3 either. Happy already added the 3rd Ziggurat.
That was very early. Okay. Question is he going to remain tier 2 a little bit longer, like 36 supply, or is he going to go tier 3 now? Happy's lumber is a little bit low because he used ghouls earlier for creeping. Very early guard tower, by the way. I saw the early lumber mill at the beginning for Blade, so does that mean he was kind of afraid of possible gargoyles?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, obviously, you won't see a Fiend for a while against that build, and he was only seeing a Death Knight and Skeleton. If you skip that guard tower and there's gargoyles, you're going to die pretty hard. But Happy's going to push. He's still tier 2. He's going to do a giant tier 2 push. That's one of the best things you can do also against a Mountain King play. He might creep 12 o'clock first even. And I really think this is going to be Frost Armor against which... Look at the army of Blade. It's only Footmen and this one Mountain King. He has nothing that's ranged. It would be so hard to kill a unit. If you get Burrow as well, that makes it even harder. And Blade didn't buy Dust. Oh my god.
Blade has a really short timing window right now. There's no Burrow yet, there's no statues yet. At the moment, he can perhaps still take an okay fight. But once statues come in, he is not going to have a chance against these Fiends anymore. But Happy doesn't allow the surround. In fact, he already forced the MK super low HP. And this is the big problem. You're playing mass melee against a strong Fiend army. And suddenly, if you don't get these big Stormbolt surrounds, there's very little you can do. This is the problem for MK first.
And he went Nova, by the way, so didn't even go for Frost Armor first. Usually you still should get that on level 2. Blade, despite the way he expanded and getting one creep stole, he teched very quickly. I've seen him in the past win a game against Happy on Terna stand with Mountain King first, so I know he's very, very strong at this style. But the way the game is going right now, I kind of like Happy's position. He has double Claw on the Lich and Gloves of Haste.
He's still not teching. Happy again adjusting his build. Against AM standard, he always plays a 30 supply tech, going very quickly to tier 3, but now Happy realizes how vulnerable the MK is against Fiend pressure in the mid game. Is he at all teching or... Okay, now he is. Now he is going to tier 3. But this Fiend army, as I said, a couple of Fiends plus statues and 2 heroes, so tough for the MK to deal with.
Double Sanctum on the way for Blade, who's getting a Blood Mage second. Usually when you play Mountain King like this, you would see a lot of Rifle play, but Rifle against Happy feels like the worst unit in the whole game. So he wants to play with a lot of Breakers and some hero target. Looks like Frost Armor finally coming into play. Lich can get Frost Armor, can get Coiled, has greater Invuln, the 15 seconds one. I don't know that this is the correct target. In fact, I know this is not the correct target, Blade.
He didn't check the inventory. That might be the mistake that leads to the 2-0. That was so much damage wasted, so many footies lost. Perhaps he's gonna get a Fiend. Well, not yet though.
I don't know if he's gonna get a
has...
Fiend the whole series at this point.
Wait a minute, is he just dead? Where does he TP to?
He's dead. Oh my god, the potion didn't go off? Mountain King dies, and Happy apparently wants to win the Grand Finals without losing a single Fiend.
Insane performance by Happy. Perfect execution, I mean, as always, but also the strategic adjustments. Realizing the weakness of the MK perfectly. The harass, stealing 2 creeps, delaying his level 3, and Happy fastening up his own level 3. And then the transition into Fiends, the creep route. It is quite amazing what the Russian is doing here, and now in a marvelous position in this game. He's got the supply lead. This Bloodmate is super squishy against this Fiend army, and Happy's about to reach tier 3 to make matters even worse.
Yeah, eventually you can go for that. I mean, when you don't lose any units, I guess you start building up a bank. That Bloodmage will go down, and Happy is up 2-0 and looking absolutely unstoppable here.
Guys, this could be the fastest series of the day. We are half an hour in, and we got 3 match points in a row for Happy. You just can't touch this man.
Did he lose a Fiend or not? I don't think he did,
No.
right?
No, not yet.
Not yet. So you think he's gonna lose one? Interesting.
Maybe on the third map, maybe. What's the third map?
Well, we'll show the third map after a little break. I think we all need that little break, especially Blade. We give him a couple of minutes to come up with something new, but he needs to be a mad genius to stop this now. We need a reverse sweep, but let's go things first, like one after the next. We need a little more competition after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DreamHack Summer Grand Final. It's a 2-0 lead for the Invincible Emperor. On Twitter, I advertised this series as the Ultimate Showdown. Turns out so far, it's the Ultimate Destruction. But Silver Lining Neo is back. Yesterday, Vortex found himself in the same position. And from that moment on, it got a lot more competitive.
True. It's gonna take some mental fortitude here for Blade to get back into this, though, to bounce back. He got pretty much destroyed 2 maps in a row. How is he gonna find that inner strength, Todd, now to again play his best and still have a chance?
I don't know. Honestly, I think he needs to maybe tower up a little bit more. But yeah, Happy is looking fantastic. I didn't really understand last game how he had this many items, so I just loaded the replay real quick. Happy found Gloves of Haste and Claws of Attack. When he was at 12 o'clock, he wasn't just there to creep the camp and get the big item. He bought those 2 items once more for his Lich. So the Lich, level 1, which then got level 2 pretty quickly, had 2 Gloves of Haste, 2 Claws of Attack. And eventually was going to get the Orb, which was going to make things even worse. So, yeah, Happy just looks unstoppable. I think Blade has to be absolutely on point. He cannot make any mistake, not a single one. I think the Rifle 1-base castle style is probably going to be his best chance. Perfect creep routes, get some good items, and start gathering some momentum, because otherwise it's going to be over early here.
Of course, Blade can wipe his tears with $1,200. That's not too bad. But he wants to put on a fight. He has to put up a fight. This was supposed to be the strongest opponent in the entire region for Happy, and he makes it look like child's play again. Next map is Concealed Hill. Fighting for survival and a potential game 4 is Blade. And 1 map away from crowning himself again the strongest player in Europe. In the bottom left in yellow, it's Happy. Now go ahead, boys, and make this a longer series.
You know, at least what Happy won't be able to do from this point on is buy items from the marketplace. The 2 marketplace maps are out, Echo and Northern. In both cases, Happy went for Claws, and I think also Gloves, actually, in both cases. And that helped out on the Lich quite immensely.
And so after
going back to Standard.
After Happy secures the red camp and finds Skagdar, you're going to be like the cup half full kind of guy and say like, oh, you know, actually, he couldn't buy items, so... I like it, Rivo, good. I hope Blades thinks like that as well, because he needs to stay positive right now. It's not going to be very easy after what just happened in the 2 previous games. He has yet to kill a single fiend. I do think that Rifle 1-base, with how good he plays it, is going to be the way, but the execution needs to be there. In game number 1, he just got creepjacked, and all of the fights that he was taking, they just weren't very good. He needed to probably creep a little bit more conservatively. Maybe give up the center, creep on the corners, creep on the sides, and make sure you get Archmage level 3 a little bit earlier as well. And backpack opener,
a player's forces are under attack.
True. I think AM level 3 is key here. Blade would love to get it early, get the level 2 water elementals rolling quickly, keep on creeping then very effectively with the MK and later on the Paladin. But I'm pretty sure, once again, Happy's gonna make it his number 1 priority in the early game to follow around the AM, prevent his leveling once the DK is level 2, which on this map should not be too hard. Starting off with the Ogre first into the green with the Ghouls, that is normally what we see quite a bit. Acolyte doing a good job scouting, and already the DK is on his way to make the AM's life as difficult as possible.
And this is like the same creep route as there is in Human Mirror. The Spider Crab will die before Happy gets there. Tome of Intellica was nice. A little bit surprised Blade didn't go for the Acolyte at all after that, but I guess he knew that the Ensnare was gonna end. And Happy, does he go for the coil? Yes, he does. Still one of those Murloc Huntsmen away. That Archmage really wants to attack the Death Knight. I think he saw that the Death Knight was already half hit points. So even though it's a fountain map, if you can finally push that guy away properly, it's going to be very good for you, because then you can creep peacefully for a while.
Yeah, this isn't looking bad for Blade at all. He got the perfect drops as well with Claws and Intelligence Tome. And Happy now, with his DK and skeletons together, going for the turtle. But the AM intentionally waited for it and could put on a little bit more damage on the DK, perhaps the skeletons. Perfect denies though by Happy, no experience given over to this AM. Of course not.
Yeah, I like that Blade attempts to steal this. There's no more death cards here for a while, so if he manages to get those 2 turtles here, that would be very good for Blade. Keep in mind that the turtles on his side of the map, he can just go for with only militia here in a little bit. And he's using the fountain very well as well. He healed that 1 footman perfectly. The experience goes to Blade here on that small turtle.
But I think Happy is still alright with this. The AM is not getting close to 3. He's getting a few skeletons here and there, maybe a little turtle. But level 3 for the level 2 elementals is still far away, which then will make creeping not so easy for the MK. Concealed hill, lots of creep camps, but many of them are quite hard to take.
The skeletons killed the water elemental, so that's a little bit of extra experience. Like, water elemental is one of those things you really need to deny. They give a good amount of experience, even though he was a water elemental level 1 here. And Happy still trying to make sure he doesn't give away too much experience, steals the turtle away. I mean, you might argue that this is almost not even the worst because of the little amount of experience involved, but it's not just experience that he gains for himself, it's also some that he denies away from the opponent. The footman! He also gets the footman here. Death Knight 2.5. Archmage still trailing behind in experience here.
At least Blade is putting a good bit of damage here on Happy's side. And this is going to be relevant for when the MK comes out. Once he has Stormbolt, I think Happy won't be able to contest then anymore. And maybe with that, Blade can creep pretty ambitiously. The red camp might be a bit too ambitious, but perhaps enemy merchant or lab could be something.
Happy was on 26 out of 30, so he really needed to lose his Acolyte, which supposedly the opponent will push into creeps or attack at some point. So he suicided it at the top merchants, so he could start his Lich a little quicker. Now tier 3 is on the way as well. I'm surprised that Happy is still playing this aggressive because his Death Knight is very low, but I think he's trying to score a little bit more experience so that if he creeps 1 or 2 more camps, he then gets Death Knight level 3 and can start pressuring a little more. But yeah, fast tier 3 again from Blade. Sanctum on the way. And he's going to continue with the creeping.
So, Happy, this game for once not in the most amazing early game position. How is he going to play it from here? With the MK coming out, this should be map control for Blade. And he looks to be trying the red camp in the middle. If the Lich says hello there with the Nova, that can be dangerous. So I guess Blade is really hoping that that's not going to be the case.
And he gets the experience for that as well. Death Knight is now super close to level 3. Blade probably feels like he's behind because of that early game, so he's going to try and take a risk and creep the big center camp here. Can he even trap it? I guess he's going to Stormbolt, because he can't close that too early. Or early enough, rather. So he closes this. Actually, one of those footmen is very low. Okay, Water Elemental is going to make sure this can't live. Happy must have thought about staffing on that skeleton, by the way. He's going to try to steal it with the skeleton. No. If he gets this, this is over. Woo! He came very close, almost hit on time, but the experience goes to Blade. He gets Cloak of Flames. A pretty bad item, if you ask me. I don't think it's very good, because you're playing against Fiends. And if you have to go to the center of everything, you can get targeted, you can get Coil Novads on the Mountain King. So a lot of the time it's going to be a sell. I mean, you can keep it. It's not like Blade's doing bad gold-wise, but there was definitely a lot of items that he could have gotten that would have been a lot better than this.
If the MK should be able to stand in the middle of all these Fiends and not be threatened, then it can be good for a bit more DPS. But as you say, he also exposes himself with that. And of course, it's very visible that he has the cloak, so Happy will have even more incentive then to focus on the MK. Happy's creeping very passively with... This is all the damage that the AM and the footies were able to do in the early. It still carries over here into the mid-game stages. And Blade gets the next item in the next camp here. And now takes away the Rock Golem from his opponent's side. Very nice.
And look at this. He's going to pull back the Archmage. Mountain King will get a lot of experience. That's one camp that he's taking away from Happy. Happy only has one single coil right now. He finds that he got Orb, so he might be confident fighting. He's probably going to go straight for those Priests. One of those gets ensnared. Coil Nova on it, and there is no more coil at all right now. If Blade realizes that, he might try to really bully Happy. by staying on him, but obviously Happy can go to the back of his base and then he will be very safe. So what's the best thing that you can go for? I guess your own fountain, but then if you do that, Happy goes and creeps the one in the bottom right. And Temple of the Den, very early.
I think it would be good for Blade. There's so many camps to left and the top left. There's this little green camp, there's the fountain, there's the gold mine. If Happy splits the map and he goes on the right, he's getting the worst end of that trade.
Yeah, this is the best Blade has looked this entire series. Look at this. Mount tanking is almost 3 and Paladin just came out. This is the perfect timing. And this time, because he crept as much as he did, he has enough gold to get Orb of Fire and Staff of Sanctuary immediately. So the goal will be to get Mount tanking level 3, and then he starts leveling the Paladin by itself to get it level 3. And in this game, obviously, Happy is also creeping a lot. Let's see what item he gets at the fountain here. Probably hoping for like True Shot or something. I mean, as Blade should be as well.
We do have the first destroyer on Northern Isles. Did he even have a single destroyer? I think I didn't saw one.
Blade didn't get there. Lionhorn, very decent. And by the way, Scroll of the Beast on Blade could end up being really good because there's a very limited amount of destroyers here for Happy. He's gonna do the Goblin Laboratory on the right. If he only has one destroyer and then he uses Dispel and then use Scroll of the Beast right after, you could be doing a lot of damage here as Blade. He pulled back. Okay, he's pulling back the Mount tanking and Archmage a little late, but Paladin will still get a lot of experience. Gets a Sobi Mask. One of the best ones, one of the best items he could have gotten.
Yep. Great find. Happy going for the run by into the base. There's no wall off here. Already a workshop coming up, possibly against Zeppelin Harass. Something that Happy, especially on this map, has been playing quite a bit in the past. Forces the TP back, and Happy just walks it off. Oh, or does he? Stormbolt connects on the Death Knight, but he's fairly tanky. We have the Silence on the Paladin, so he can't use the Holy Light. The first rifle is going down right away. Fiend's being kept alive for now. Maybe he can get one with the Holy. Oh my god, last split second. So at least Blade gets something. But still Happy with more units killed, considering the peasants that he took out.
Oh my god, he killed the Fiend. This game is over.
He did it! He did it!
It's over. Happy's broken mentally. Blade's done it. No, but seriously, it's finally a little bit of something happening in his favor. Plus 2 attacks already on the way. And because he goes for that workshop, he should be able to deal very well with any amount of destroyers. In which case, like I said before, if you have priests with master training, you can inner fire your entire army. This is the dream. What Happy is going to rely on to try and counter that, in particular those heroes, is that he's going to get a lot of banshees, put anti-magic shell on everything that he has, and really negate a lot of that damage from Stormbolt and Holy Light. And then he just has to attack maybe Flying Machines first, I don't know, like if he wants to go for more destroyers. Priest can be pretty exposed and died very quick, and rifles as well when Orb plus a lot of Fiends are attacking them.
Pally level 3. Alright. This is sometimes where the human can turn it around. With this strategy, the human is always concerned about dying. Every fight can be your last. It's super stressful. And the Dark Ranger timing early on tier 3 is really strong. But once these levels are reached, this is oftentimes where the Paladin outshines the Dark Ranger. The Holy Light and the Divine Shield always great. Whereas the Dark Ranger, with her abilities, Dispel can oftentimes hard counter her.
Yeah, Happy saw that there was a workshop, so he knows there's going to be flying machines. Obviously, like I said, it's very tricky for him to get destroyers and not get owned by flying machines. So he's getting web to make sure he can web a lot of these flying machines. Kites, pull back, snipe them. He's obviously the best at micro for this. And we got 56 supply now for Happy. He didn't wait too long before breaking upkeep, whereas Blade was still waiting. He sold items at the last second here, and he's pulling back home. One of the better things you can do here is to just go home, camp there, so you have the threat of militia and being under a shop, so the opponent cannot really attack into you. And you break upkeep a little bit later than the opponents. But there it is. Blade, 56 supply. Starts a breaker and a rifle. The breaker's interesting. Usually you don't really go for that, but there is banshees, so why not?
Now to reflect curse, it can be very good.
Even hero targets
also die very fast.
Yeah, but I think the mount tanking is supposed to be at the front for the tanking. But hero targeting with breakers is also really good. But how many is he really going to get? Wait, did he cancel? No, it came out. What do you think about mortars against banshees?
It can be good in theory. But the thing is, the undead super late game army, when everything has magic shield applied, I think this is the biggest upside of this army. You put anti-magic on everything, and then you can be really reckless with your movement. You can go face to face with the rifles, even go past them, and of course you're faster with the aura, and go for the backline. Usually it's priests that you'll be attacking, but if there's mortar teams, you can just as easily go for those. So I think it is fairly unreliable. If the undead leaves them alone, then great, but how likely is that Happy is going to do just that?
Here we go. Blade needs to wait for all of his units to be there. There's some trailing behind. He's going to engage, gets a Banshee at the start of the fight. Archmage kind of in the middle of everything here. Happy getting really on top of this army. Priest dies almost instantly. Mountain King diving for the backline here.
Destroyer still up in the air, not getting sniped yet. And now here we see it. The Fiend's going deep. Everything is anti-magic. Nova connects on the Rifleman. Lots of damage there with the AoE. We have Curse, we have Scroll of the Beast, we have Inner Fire. The buffs and debuffs are everywhere. We have the Militia flank into the back, not doing too much. The double silence in the front line, not getting dispelled. The Priests, perhaps not enough mana to get rid of this one. And Happy is chewing now through this human army. Blade down to only 53 supply. It's not about mana here as well, by the way. Who's got more heal? Who's got more offensive spells? Blade still at 50, Happy at 55. It's kind of even, but more and more rifles are dying. And the more that they fall, the more skeletons will be raised. From the Dark Ranger, coil towards the Lich. Is that the last coil, though? Seems like it is for a while. Maybe now Blade can finally get the kills, but his army has already evaporated in large parts.
Archmage is not level 4 yet, so that's Aura level 2 that is missing, because he went for Water Elementals level 2, and he has no more Dispel, these skeletons. A Priest comes in, but without mana. Blade's trying to dive for the backline, going for those Banshees, the statues, still going strong, and those skeletons, nothing can get them away. I'm sure that a Priest will be coming very soon to try and dispel that. Blade trying to target whatever he can. He's still working with a lot of mana, actually. Thanks to that Sobi Mask in particular. He's gonna try to go for Hero. There is still one more Death Coil. The Archmage, in the middle of everything, needs to be careful. Paladin getting targeted as well. And there is still way more units left over for Happy.
Lich level 4, +4 intelligence, also Dark Ritual now for the Skeleton eating. One more Fiend goes down, but Happy still has plenty left. 4 Fiends on the ground and so many skeletons. He's raising the dead, just like in the campaign. MK, can he find the kills? He needs to, but he has to use the Invul Potion. He's close to dying. 7 seconds of invulnerability. The Division on the Paladin ends. That exposes him now. He's slowed thanks to the Frost Armor. Has to run. Happy's low mana. No coil at the moment, but the AM dies just to the skeletons and right clicks from the Lich, and that's the GG. Happy does it